Hey folks, this is Curtis Brown, your instructor for HSEP 302. This is week number 6, and our focus this week is on mitigation. Last week, we did not have a discussion board question. It was the final week of our planning session, and you had a quiz. The quiz was due by Tuesday because I had a little delay posting it. Sorry about that. But hopefully everyone completed it. Again, it was based on the reading as well as the videos and the reference reading material. As you recall, we had a video with Donna Pletch, who gave us insight on planning and the importance of planning from a planning professional. So just to recap this first half of the semester, and consistent with the syllabus, we started first week just looking at the basics of emergency preparedness, hazards and risk assessment, understanding the hazards that exist, both man-made and natural, within our environment. And from the perspective of an emergency manager, what are the risks that we need to plan and prepare for that potentially can cause fatalities and damage to critical infrastructure. Then we sat there for a couple of weeks, week 1, 2, and 3, just to discuss those risks and hazards. Then we moved to planning. And planning, clearly the most important guide is CPG 101, the basics of emergency planning. To complement this planning reading, you were required to complete the independent study certification. And again, for these independent certifications through FEMA, it's recommended that you do it the week of the assigned subject, but you do not have to turn in the certificates until later in the semester. But I do highly recommend that you do complete your certificates the week that they're assigned in the syllabus, because they do complement the reading. So we talked about CPG 101, how do we use the information and data from understanding the risks and hazards to then begin to conduct planning. And we, again, looked at CPG 101, the textbook reading, and again, I mentioned the interview with Donna Pletch. Now we're moving on here in week 6 to discuss mitigation. Mitigation is the effort to lessen the impact of a disaster or of a known threat on a community that is vulnerable. And so how do we mitigate? How do we lessen the impact? And the chapter you're reading this week talks about some of the mitigation tools that are in place that emergency managers can use. Flood walls, using mitigation funds for notification systems, things of that sort. So it's really important for you to look in that section about all the different mitigation tools and understand them and understand how emergency managers can use them. The articles that are posted in my documents highlight that the focus on mitigation has expanded and increased because of the impact of recent hurricanes and flooding disasters across the country. Over the last 3 or 4 years, many believe because of climate change producing more extreme weather, we're seeing more communities impacted by flooding. We saw the devastation through Hurricane Harvey 2 years ago, Hurricane Maria last year, even here in Virginia, Hurricane Florence and Hurricane Michael. So a lot of focus now is shifting to understanding the threat in our communities. How can we do more to mitigate the threat of disasters, and focus more on funding mitigation projects and doing more things to mitigate and to protect these communities? Because, we're not just going to, for the most part, pick up a whole city and move the city. So if we're going to live with these threats and hazards, how can we lessen the impact when that major flooding event occurs or that hurricane comes by? So this week, the discussion board question is, we've moved to, and I'll probably do this a little bit more the rest of the semester. I want you to start applying the reading to a real scenario so you can understand what an emergency manager deals with in a community. So this week I created a scenario of a community that is impacted by recurrent and repetitive flooding, and gave you a couple of different characteristics of that community. And I want you to apply what you have learned in the reading to what you could do to approach this community that is vulnerable to flooding. So I've seen a few of y'all posts. Many of them look good. My constant message to all of you all is demonstrate that you have read the textbook and the articles. Apply what you read into your discussion board question comment or reply. Excuse me. Leverage that information and apply it into the discussion board post, but also not just the post, but also as you engage your colleagues and your classmates. So that is due. That was due by yesterday. I know that you all are exchanging comments and providing feedback up until Saturday. The next step for the class is preparation for the midterm. I did make a mistake in the syllabus, and I think I had some of the dates wrong, but midterm week is the week of February 5th through March 3rd. And I believe y'all are on spring break that following week. So I'm gonna have to adjust the syllabus. Essentially, week 8 will be spring break, and then week 9 will start back up with response. As it relates to the midterm exam, my hope is to give like a one-page overview guide for the midterm. Again, the midterm covers everything that we've discussed and went over the course of the first 6 weeks. So it's the videos, it's the reading, and it also is the concepts from the independent study certificates. The midterm will have short answers, multiple choice, true, false, and it will have a one-page memo, one to 2 page memo required as a part of the midterm exam. So again, in preparation for the midterm exam, just start thinking about how you can apply what you've read and learned into putting it into a narrative format within a memo. I'll probably create a scenario similar to that I did this week, putting you in the position of being an emergency manager, making a recommendation for a strategy to enhance preparedness or implement mitigation within the community. But if you've read the material, you've understood it, you should be able to apply it and put it into narrative format within a memo. So that's essentially where we're at. The next thing I'll do is again send that overview document for the midterm. I'll probably release the midterm around Tuesday of next week. Tuesday is Tuesday the 26th. Tuesday or Wednesday, either one, and you'll have until Sunday the 3rd to submit the midterm. I'll also ask you to submit the discussion board tracker form to me, so I can load your grades through this midterm. So that one-page document that's in course documents, I've asked you all to track who you've corresponded with as it relates to providing a reflection on their discussion board post. So all of that information will help to be loaded into the grade center. So your grade center for the midterm would be the discussion board question, the quizzes, as well as the midterm exams. The FEMA certificates will not be a part of this first half of the midterm grading because, again, I'm not going to request those certificates until later in the semester. Well, okay, folks, well, that's all I have for right now. If you have any questions or comment, comments, please feel free to send me an email and we can set up a call or a conference call. Let me know if you have any questions about the course readings. And everyone looks like they're in good shape right now in terms of where they are in the semester. I will be focusing more attention on discussion board questions and providing more insight on how those can those responses can improve. All right. Thanks so much. Have a good rest of the week. Stay safe and start reviewing the course material in preparation for the midterm exam next week. Thanks a lot.